I hate, hey, look what you were doing 5 years ago. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to know what I was doing 5 years ago. That shit drove me crazy, and I was like, I don't need this in my life. So I deleted, that was like the first time I deleted Facebook. And then this is like the first time that I was ever like, whoa, I need to like, I gotta slow down. I gotta stop.
Wasn't that back when Facebook was only or supposed to be college kids, I think? Or was that after the fact?
Yeah. It was before, it was when it was cool. You know? Like,
Yeah.
now, yeah, I don't know. That's when it was. I couldn't
Yeah,
give you a year.
because I'm old enough to remember when I was in college, Facebook was out then, but it was only limited to college students or, actual people that needed, I guess, a social media platform in that sense. But then
Yeah.
again, I'm also old enough to remember MySpace. I doubt you're old enough to even remember that. Or are
My,
you?
I do remember MySpace. Okay, JT Photography just said, Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. I hope you're rapping a lot over the weekend.
Is it Thanksgiving in Canada?
It is. Yes.
Oh,
This weekend is Thanksgiving weekend. The long
wow,
weekend.
you guys are a month and a half early.
Yes. We're just so stoked to like do the turkey thing. We just couldn't wait till November.
So wait a minute. When you do Canadian Thanksgiving, is the turkey easier to pursue and or pin down because there's no snow, there's no like mountains of piles of leaves to like kind of rummage through, or how does a turkey deal with that? Have you asked the turkey how they're dealing with that?
Yeah, I generally ask them before I strike them between the eyes with the bow and arrow from across the field while hiding in a bush, and they generally say, I don't like it out here anyways, and it's like everyone's fine with it. But I haven't done it in a while. So now I have just been mooching off my family's turkeys, and I don't know how they feel about it. The turkey's not the thing.
So the turkey gobbles its consent in a way before boom, right between the eyes.
They love it. They love
Okay.
it.
I would hope so. I mean, wait a second. Well, I guess a better question would be, since you're in Canada, in case anyone has to ask. Well, they're mostly here for you, but by the way, just in case. Uh, in your part of Canada, are you regularly dealing with the snow, or how often is the snow a hassle for you?
Right now, it's great. The other day, we had a day, and I was like, oh my God, is it summer? You could have put a bikini on. I did, and it was fine. But then damn well 2 days following that you're going to hate your life. So, I don't know. Snow's coming. The leaves are changing. I'm not impressed. I'm not excited about it. I'm not a winter person. Not to be a pessimist, but winter can suck my dick, per se. Like, I just...
Proverbial dick. You haven't transitioned into that
Yes,
sense.
yes, exactly. Thank you for
Okay.
correcting me.
Well, just to make sure, So yeah, that is okay. So I mean, it's there to deal with, but yeah, a whole month and a half early for turkey because like, at least Turkey Day, Thanksgiving, whatever. For me, I have made it a personal ordeal on myself to not celebrate with a turkey anymore. I'm not buying into that. We took the land from the Indians, et cetera, et cetera. Not none of that, but more
Fair.
in the sense like I hate turkey. It's too bland. It's too dry. The
I
day
agree.
after, it's no good.
I agree. But have you tried an air fryer before?
I've been told I should. I have not.
Don't, honestly, I mean, do it, but don't do it because you're going to be on it. Then you'll just only be eating turkey and chicken. I don't even like chicken. I don't even like it. Because I feel the same way. I'm like, this tastes like nothing to me. It's like, what? Unless it's breaded and dipped in like 3 gallons of Keskala fuck sauce, like I just don't care about it. And then I had plain ass chicken the other day out of the air fryer, and I was like, whoa, man, I get it now. So maybe that's something you should fuck with. Food for
I
thought.
keep I keep hearing people sing the praises of the air fryers. So I mean, might as well give in at some point too.
Yeah, I think that it has lived up to the hype that we have seen.
Okay, that's good to know. I mean, maybe I'll give turkey a second chance in that case, maybe. But yeah, I'm not a
Ask
big
first, though.
advocate of chicken.
Ask the turkey first.
I got to get his consent first. That's established too. Canada or here too, we got to get consent openly too. But what about imagine you get a turkey with Tourette's on top of it, gobble 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 goo 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 goo.
You know who'd fucking crush that? And I got to reach out to him. There's this rapper from Hamilton named Boris, and he has Tourette's. Unbelievable rapper, great writer, great lyricist, and has a fucking unreal sense of humor. And I'm gonna send him a voice note after this, be like, hey, like, give me your best like turkey. He would in 2 seconds flat send a voice note being like, or like whatever the fuck they do. Sorry about that. I
No,
really
I
hope you.
think you gotta have a certain way to approach it too, because I think a lot. I remember Boris actually. I'm on a past episode of Blues Beautiful.
Yes.
Um, so I think you gotta approach him carefully, not so much to offend him, but more like you gotta get that natural, stutter out of him instead of like, yo, on the spot, okay, stutter now, and then he speaks so eloquently, clearly that it's like, do you even have one, or was that a put on this whole time? Is that a
Yeah.
farce?
Like if I didn't know him, I wouldn't know that he had it.
Mm.
But so he'll point it out when it's happening. I'm like, oh, that's a thing. Because I guess it's different for everybody. But yeah, yeah, he's a fucking sick dude.
Yeah, shout out to Boris. That was a good episode, and yeah, very talented guy. We followed each other on Instagram, so I'm familiar with his work now. Thanks to you, of course, your episode with him.
Sweet. Yeah, he's sick. I want to circle back to our
Yeah.
point that we never concluded on regarding MySpace.
Oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead, please.
When MySpace came out, I wasn't allowed internet, or computer or any of the fun things because they were going to poison my brain, right?
Right.
And so I didn't get that. So I would have to go over to my friends' houses and be like, "Can we fucking check? I want to see what the fuck, what the fuck is on MySpace?" And it's just like pictures of kids in your school, and you're like, "Whoa, can you believe that it's the picture was using a black and white filter?" I just didn't like get it, but I was super into it too, and I was like, I really want this thing. I don't know what the fuck I possibly would have posted, but I also think it's a blessing I never had it because
Okay. So you were just familiar with it. You didn't have actual exposure to it.
yes, yes, and thank
Okay.
you, mother and father, who are both not tuned in today, for not letting me have that experience. I'm glad.
Yeah, and that's a good point brought up by AM Semino. The top 8 friends on MySpace was rough to deal with because that would make or break friendships depending on who you ranked where, what number they came in exactly.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like that's the shit that they do in public school and in high school, like in real life. That
Oh
like
yeah.
hurts deep down, and now we're gonna blast on the internet. Be like, actually, and that's like taking Billboard Top 100 hip hop or whatever music, top 100 hits, but then just laying it out as popularity contests for 12 to 14-year-olds. Ouch! My fucking heart. Like I would hate
Yeah.
that. I'd hate it so much.
And you'd be surprised who took it personal if, let's say, like in my case, I had one best friend I didn't put on there because I did have him as a friend. I just didn't put him as my number one or two. So when he caught on to it eventually, mind you, he never checked himself. He came up to me and said, hey, why am I not number one, number two? Not angry, but just he asked me directly. And I said, well, I know you in real life, as I'm sure a lot of people have to explain real life friends, IG, social media friends, I don't need to establish that. We know we're good. But then he just took it so personal still. And I never put him anyway, too. So, he still got
That's
upset. We still talk, but every once in a while, oh, remember, number one, number two. No, not me. Of course, I'm not good enough. But,
that's crazy. Cause too, like you'll see that even now in Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. Like if someone supports you a lot in real life that is close to you but never does anything online, it's
yeah,
there's those weird things that happen. Like, oh well, are they? What is real then? Like, well,
right.
they're doing support over here, or you'll see people that support the piss out of you online, like, share, comment, all the shit, but if you saw them in real life, it's a different thing. It's crazy, man. I don't know, social media, love it, but also like, what the fuck, I don't know.
Oh, it's great for promotional purposes. I'm sure as a creative, full on, full blast. But then, you got the backlash of having to deal with little shit like that sometimes, or just whatever comes up too, the point where you need to take a break. And I
Yeah,
totally understand it too.
yeah, totally. What is this? Someone says I'm having like a PlayStation crisis.
Where'd you see that?
What's a PlayStation crisis? Tell me.
Yeah, what is that? Or maybe they're referring to like a PlayStation shortage of the PS5s because I still can't get one either. So
Really?
I don't know if you're into games at all or not.
I like PlayStation only, but I only like it if I can play one game, and that is Crash Bandicoot. Everything else I don't need in my life. But I would buy the console and that game and only have that, and I would be happier than a pig in shit.
I can see you taking up Crash Bandicoot. You're kind of like flexible and all manageable like that, like he is in the game too, like all bendy and twisty.
I slay. I slay. Hold on, let's scroll up. When people mute you, you can hear them talk about you from other people's headsets. What the fuck? You probably know more about this than I do with like live streaming on consoles.
Oh, well, I don't use the headsets, but I know like the little 13-year-olds that like start. I only know about them using like racial terms against you if you're beating them, or just so happens like in Call of Duty, which is like I rarely get in a good game, and this is after years of trying and failing and just sucking in general at that game because I'm really bad at shooters. Once in a while, if I get on a streak and I kill the top guy who's like 10, 11 at most, they should just start throwing the N word at me, thinking because I sound a way, I am a certain way. But then I have to tell them, you know, if you're going to be racist, at least get it right, please, so I can at least try to be offended. That would help a lot.
If you're going to do it, fucking get it right, for Christ's sake.
So wait, how is the situation up there in Canada? I know I read for some reason like how difficult it is for some places, like in Japan, I think, unless you're like of Japanese descent of some sorts. I think from both ends, mother and father, you can't become a legal permanent resident or citizen over there. Is that the same thing over there in Canada, or how's it for you if I was like to pursue a green card there?
Oh, we love everybody. We want, the government will probably write you a check, give you a social security number, and board you somewhere if you want to come. Like, that's kind of how it is here. Just go online and say, I would like this. And they'd say, oh, come on, we would love it too. Come over. Stay forever. That's my general consensus of it.
All right, so they're pretty open to it then. Right.
Pretty open.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, speaking of
Japan, like I wish they would do what they do in Japan. I believe you can correct me if I'm wrong or fucking Google it so I don't botch this, but you can't own land there unless you are a citizen there, and you can't own it by marrying a citizen. You have to be born into it in order to own the land. I think that's a great idea. I don't understand why more countries don't implement that, but anyways, to each their own.
Yeah, I guess. But then that also reminds me of fucking like England, you know, which I want to visit, by the way, someday soon, you know, once this whole thing's over. England. Great Britain.
I can't hear you.
England.
England.
Yeah.
Continue. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm saying the whole thing with Japan reminds me of the whole thing with England as far as I think Japan still has the anyone jump in, correct me if I'm wrong, they still got like the, what do you call it? Like the royal thing, like the emperor, king, whatever the fuck. But whatever, Japan aside, I mean, like England. It reminds me of England. You got the whole ordeal with the Queen, too, which I forget who I was talking about with. I know it's obviously the prime minister that's like front and center for England, for Great Britain, whatever they choose at this point to be identified as. But then what does the Queen do anymore besides wear fancy hats in every color imaginable I could think of? And if not, she's probably creating her own color just for her own purposes, just to throw on her white gloves and wave at the crowd. I guess she's scheduled to do that every day at Parliament or whatever, too.
I think she does it because it's cute.
At this point, right? It's gotta be.
I don't know. I have not a fucking clue. If anyone said, like, what is this lady's job? I'd be like,
wave.
Cash and checks. I don't know, man. Collecting jewels and making bling with matching gloves.
I don't think she wears bling. She wears like what? Like big, you know, oppressing pearls, if anything. And then the white gloves,
brooches?
Right? Oh, brooches, right. She does have that, yeah.
We should bring brooches back.
You should bring brooches back. It's not going to look good on me. Come on.
I don't want to do that. I think someone else should do that. I would love someone else to start that trend. Bring back brooches. Because imagine getting a cool brooch that was blinged out, diamonds, gold, all the fanciness, and it just said, fuck you. But it was like, looked like flowers, so you had to get real close to the brooch and be like, whoa. And it just said, fuck you or fuck off or something like that. I'd be into it.
Well, wait, okay, that's a good point. The queen wears bright colors so people can spot her better in the crowds, as if, you know, that's not a case where the crown would fucking help better, if anything.
Is this not? That's not a real thing. What? No. Or yes? Like, what do you mean?
Well, listen, if you see a not so big, I believe she's tiny-esque, the queen herself, with no crown, but she's brightly decked out in whatever, you know, matching pantsuit and the hat too, you would think, wait a minute, she's not one of us commoners here too, but just short of having a crown to identify as the queen herself.
Maybe.
Wouldn't that be better for us? I mean, for them at least, they know, oh, the queen, right, let me stop everything I'm doing.
Or maybe like wear normal ass colors like gray and blacks and beiges so that people don't spot you out and you can just do normal shit, you know, like you get groceries. And also maybe the crown is only worn because of the height, and there when she puts it on it's like, okay, now it's a little more studious and tall, you know, kind of like us with high heels, us ladies with high heels, but it's a crown full of jewels and purple pantsuits. Could be.
Or maybe she's too old to wear the crown anymore because it's compressing her like spinal disc or whatever. She needs like.
Maybe she's got scoliosis.
She could have that too.
She can't wear a 15-pound bag of jewels on her fucking noodle anymore. Maybe.
She can't.
Has anybody checked in with her? Like.
Maybe they caught her one day. She was wearing it. She was like tipping over. Oh.
Yeah, she was like, well, that's not going to be good for the PR. Hold her steady. Hold her steady.
God save the queen, literally.
Or, yeah.
Get the gurney. She's tipping over.
God save the queen. Or maybe she just whips around with one and it's actually plastic, but really high-end plastics. And that look like expensive as shit, but it's only 1.5 pounds, so she can still.
Or like a really good knockoff. You mean, right?
Yes. Yeah. Maybe a good knockoff crown, and we're all being tricked. We gotta find this out. My fucking face hurts. That was really funny. Oh.
And then I forgot who. Do you by any chance know who was the last person, celebrity, whatever, that got knighted? At all, because is she the one that like touches him with the sword, or is that too heavy for her too?
I don't have a fucking clue, but I'm also pretty sure you can just pay to get that shit done, because didn't someone from the Kardashians get knighted? Like,
oh,
you
don't even.
get knighted.
I hope not.
And people have to call you Lord. Like, I'm sure it's like, okay, be a citizen, great. So fill out paperwork, do the thing. I'm sure if enough time passes and you just follow the rules, anybody can get knighted. But I don't know.
when. If that's true, wouldn't it be like a Kardashian? Wouldn't she be a madam at this point? That's a royal ass then.
It was her brother. So
wait,
he got turned into a lord.
The guy that never talks, Robert?
I don't know, because I can't keep up with the Kardashians. I don't know. It's the one that doesn't have a fake ass and is a dude. Like, I don't know. My sister.
I mean, judging the size of the ass of Chloe, I think she took his belly fat out from him and put it on her ass, because that thing just keeps growing and growing every year too. Because he did have lipo or something going on there too.
Listen, you know when people say like keep the assets in the family?
Literally, yeah.
I have these cards my friend gave me that are called conversation starters, and. Fuck it, I'll just tell you why I have them. I've been having a hard time starting conversations lately. Especially.
You have?
Yes.
You? No way.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? I do this thing where everything in life is totally fine, and then once I start having like a crush on someone, I'm just like, like I, and even to the point where if, and I'm sure my beloved ex-boyfriends can attest to this, like they could tell me something quite literally to my face with their words, and I'm just like, I don't get it. What do you mean? And then 3 days later, I'm like, oh, that's what the fuck. It'd be the easiest shit. So I'm a little bit stunned in that department. So she gave me a pack of conversation starters. Bless you. Shout out to Melissa. Thank you. No, I have not used them. If you ever watch this, no, I haven't used them. But I'm gonna use them now. So I picked out a couple from the deck. I'm like, wow, these would be great. And this one I would love to ask you is it possible to cry underwater?
Uh, I took 2 years of biology. I should know this. I hope. I would
I
think
didn't,
no.
and I just say yes.
Well, because I had to take it again. I got left back the first year in science. Not the grade, science. But I don't think so. I think it will cancel out the tears versus the ocean water pushing back into the eye ducts.
Right? Because maybe the pressure of the water being underwater would push the tears back into your head. But also, I feel like they would just fall out and be like, we belong here, and go back into the ocean. Like salt water goes back, they just want to be together. That's me being a scientist.
Scientific hat on. Yeah.
Yes, I wore my science hat today. What would the title of your memoir be?
Uh, Big dummy.
You would just call it Big Dummy? Well, people would
Yeah.
probably read it. That's it?
Yeah.
That's all you have?
Well, he called himself Big Dummy. How big of a dummy is he? At least,
Yeah,
hopefully,
big
that works.
must read to find out. Good work.
How about you?
Here, uh, please don't read would be one. Two would be um, overrated. Three, maybe, do you have anything else better to do? And then the last one would maybe be like, fuck yeah, let's go. I
Okay.
think,
Yeah. I
I
could
think,
link those back to you. Yeah.
yeah, I think that really would encompass my life.
But that whole titling of a book, if that ever came up in your case or mine, whichever one, I think still to this day, probably the most genius marketing or promotional tool for naming a book is still got to go to Howard Stern with his first book, Private Parts. He purposely did that so that every time, they had to read it on the news or print it in the papers, whatever, it had to go Howard Stern's Private Parts.
That's fucking smart.
Yeah. It was genius. And, people try to avoid saying it, but then you can't really establish what book you're reviewing, what book you're talking about without saying Howard Stern Private Parts.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so clever. We got to think of something like that.
Something along those lines. Yeah.
Even if it's like just a little 100-page book and call it
I
something.
mean, Kanye West put out a book some years ago. It's like a barely 20 pages, I think.
What was it called?
I think Thank You and You're Welcome. So, of
Fair enough.
course, makes sense.
Yeah. Very on brand.
Speaking of, well, maybe not so much private parts, but nether regions, lower territory down there below the belt. I don't know if you ever caught
Genitalia.
wind. I don't know if you caught wind of this story. There was something out there, I believe. I forget the Asian country, so forgive me for that. But I'm sure they're not going to claim this person anyway. There was a guy that, for the sake of getting his digestive enzymes working and functioning again, some country they adopt this policy of like sticking the eel up their ass through the ass and navigates through, and the eel somehow knows precisely where to target in the digestive system to start helping out the person. But this guy probably got the eel with like a bad day or whatever, ill temperament, that started eating away at his insides. They had to go cut him up open to dig the eel out of his stomach that just stuck right through his ass.
What?
Yeah, ancient medicine, I guess,
Could you just
Yeah.
imagine being the patient? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this here. Imagine being a patient and be like, oh, like my stomach hurts. Doctor, help me. My stomach hurts. He goes, oh, don't worry. I have just the thing. Here you go. It's a 5.5-foot fish. We're going to shove up your ass. And guess what? He'll figure it out.
I mean, that's their old ancient remedy of dealing with constipation. So, I mean, maybe it did a little too much beyond that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But I'm sure, like, 100 years from now, they're going to look at us like we're all the dumbest things on the planet as well. So, although I don't know anyone putting fish on their ass at the moment. So, but just because I don't know doesn't mean it's not happening. So maybe they're still doing it.
I mean, according to where the story came from, it's commonplace or common procedure because people don't feel like going to the doctor, or they're like, from, I don't know, the village or like the backwoods countries, whatever. But it's been working up until that one guy had to, like, make it clear, hey, this one's still in my stomach, not coming out my ass as planned, doctor. What do I do now?
I just can't.
They'll talk about a little turtle head, like with an eel poking in, poking out. Like, no, not just yet. I'm not done. No, 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 no.
That's fucking crazy. Why do you know this?
I stumbled upon the article. I couldn't resist but bring it up with you, of all people, too. I figured you'd get a kick out of it.
You have no idea how much I appreciate this. And you just wrecked the lives of the next 15 people I talk to in real life, because this is what I'm going to tell them. Literally, how's your day? Doesn't matter. Did you know? People used to put eels on their ass? Who gives a fuck how my day was? What about that?
But then again, I mean, remember, we're not too far removed from the times when they were doing the leeches to suck out blood or whatever.
That's true.
Or what was it, leeches and slugs or whatever they was doing back when.
We still do. This is not really the same, but
or at least not up your ass.
Yeah, at least not up your ass. But fish pedicures.
Like, oh, right.
And then all the little fish kind of eat all of your dead skin. Like, okay, like that's fine, because that's kind of like swimming in a lake to me. Like, that would happen there. But I don't know, man. Do you mind leeches?
As far as what they do, like sucking the blood, whatever, or like the sight of them.
If one got stuck to you, would you freak out?
Probably not. At least at the moment. But then I'd probably think back on it like, oh shit, maybe there's something there.
Fair enough. I like them. I also like worms.
You like leeches and worms.
Yeah.
So then I guess you were, plenty excited back when Fear Factor was on. They used to stick the people in the tubes or the cages with like worms and whatnot.
I'd be like, dude, take a nap. It'd be just like a cold bath. Just lay in there with the fucking worms. And ask if you can take some home so you can use like that's free bait. Like after you lay in there, fill your pockets, go fishing. Load up your tackle box. I don't know.
Take some for the road then.
Yeah. 5-finger discount. Except you're not stealing. You're stealing worms. That's all you're stealing. What's the weirdest way you've made friends with someone?
I think it was Facebook. Yeah, back on when I was more heavy into Facebook years ago, in college actually. This guy DM'd me like essays, paragraph long comments about me supposedly being the guy that his girlfriend was creeping around with, who, one, I didn't know she existed, and two, I didn't know who she was. And when I saw her profile, three, I absolutely would have never did anything with her. And I had to add that on to the message elaborating, hey, stupid, it's not me. There's like a million, my real name is George. And where's Jorge in Spanish? George in Spanish, I mean. There's a million of, we're like in the top 3 most common Spanish names. So there's like, you throw a stone in this college, you're going to hit one more than likely. On top of that, we got an international high school across the street too of just non-English speakers. So it's not me. And I had to clarify that. But then afterwards, after elaborating to him, waxing poetically, oddly enough, we became friends, or at least cool per se. We hung out a couple times, and then we both confirmed she was a hoe, or getting around on him, and
Really?
yeah. And
That's
then one day he just disappeared. I don't know what happened to him. So
he fell back in love with the same girl, and then
probably
his ego was too beaten down to tell you about it because that's how you guys met. That's my
he knew
theory.
not to talk to me again. I hope.
Yeah, he's like, I can't tell my new bestie that I'm back with fucking Bella. I don't. Yeah, that must be. It's probably like the only logical answer I can think of. Or he
Yeah.
died. I'm trying
So
to think of like the weirdest way I've met somebody, and I think it would be a shorter list of like a normal way of meeting someone
hmm.
because I talk so much and I like meeting strangers. I just don't give a shit. I'm like, yeah, let's be friends. Like waitresses or servers that at restaurants, I'm always like, they become my friends. Places I go, fine, easy. Instagram, great. Like, but I don't know.
I
Weird.
feel like you're that type of person. You learn someone's name after the first mention of their name.
And then forget it 30 seconds later?
I would hope not, but it looks like you'd actually remember.
Yes. No, I can't. I'm very bad with names. I have to do a thing that I didn't learn until later in life, but I have to do a trick when I meet people that I think are going to be in my life still to remember their names. I
Yeah.
have to, like, if it was George and we meet and we shake hands, I go, George. And then I have to find something that you're wearing that hopefully you're wearing something green and I can go, Green George, like in my head. And then I will remember, like, oh, George who? And like, oh, Green George. Right, that's who that is. But I have to associate the name with like a picture or it's fine. Or a color. So no, her names very well.
But that reminds me of one of my old bosses at where I am right now, currently at my company I work for, obviously. This guy, for some reason, some way, somehow, could remember your name just off of one handshake or just the first time ever. And it always bugged me out because this is when I just started the company and working in the healthcare industry like I am right now. Every single person he met, encountered, bumped into, employee, person on the street, person at the coffee shop, whatever, like instantly knew his name. And he'd remember. He wouldn't even stumble like, it's coming to me, whatever. Oh, give me a second. No, like, boom, right away. Jose, Miguel, whatever the fuck, too. Until one day I caught him in the bathroom. And, well, okay, he was fully clothed, thank God. I was in the
Slow down,
stall. I couldn't,
Tony
yeah,
boy.
yeah. Just to elaborate, I was in the stall, minding my business, doing what, bathroom things, whatever. He was at the, whatever, washing his hands, cleaning up, leaving. And then I caught on to him. I overheard him repeating a couple of people's names a couple of times, three to be exact. Tim, 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 Robin, 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 whatever names he said at that point. And then oddly enough, I purposely tried to clean up and hurry up out the bathroom to see if I coincided with him bumping into a Tim or a Robin, whatever. And he did.
And did he get it
So he
right?
was looking at the phone, associating the names, repeating it three times each, like some
All the
OCD shit.
tricks. So many
And there you
tricks.
go. And I caught him outside the hallway, Tim and Robin. There it was, and I caught on to the trick.
Did
And
you
it
call
still
him out
doesn't
on
work for me.
it and say, hey, I know you're not smart instantaneously because I heard you taking a piss and saying Tim 3 times. Did you say that?
No, I didn't want to call him out because he was a pretty high ranking, so I respect him enough to not do that.
Fair enough. Those are good tricks to learn, though. Not even
I don't know
kidding.
how some people do it.
When I had to take a bio in college, like one of the courses was biology and then human anatomy, and I couldn't. One of the units was just words,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, well, I'm fucked, and it was just terminology, and that's all we had to do was just, and then the test was just write down the definition of all of these fucking words, which was like an hour and a half, and I'm like, how in the fuck am I gonna do this? Because there's no colors, there's no like so what I did was I wrote songs and wrote like, because you had to remember like the prefix and the suffix of certain words means a different thing, and I'm like, well, okay. and then I would write songs. So like, and the one that I remember, this is so embarrassing, was CIRC meant circle, and I'm like, okay, well,
Ah,
or round or something. I think that's what this is. I'm probably totally botching this, but the line that I wrote was like, whatever the prefix of the word was means round, like circle,
mhm.
like circumcised dick. And then I would laugh, and then I would never forget that when I had to do my test, because I'm like, ha, I remember that one. Oh, I drew a little dick beside it. I'm like, oh, A+ for me. Next. So there, yeah. I don't know why I just said that, but that just popped up. I wish I could find those notes. That'd be fucking hilarious. Entire show just based on all of the tricks I had to do to get through school.
Digging through the books to find the little dicks you drew.
Yeah, little dicks, big dicks, medium dicks. It was in
Well,
the name of education.
I hear you too, because at work too, we got terminology we need to remember as well. I remember most of them just because it's been beaten into my head enough times.
Yeah.
But there's one here. You probably got the same up there. HIPAA. That's a policy. It's
I
just basically like our terminology in the industry is just for the sake of protecting your personal info. We don't give it to the wrong person. They call in, email, whatever. It's HIPAA.
okay. Okay.
But whenever it came time to put in an email or write it out or spell it, I could never remember if it was two P's or two A's for the HIPAA. So I'd always like be stuck there trying to remember which one is it. I'd have to Google it. I'd have to find it, double check in textbooks, whatever, too, until I associated with, I have to dramatize and remember things. I associated with Al Pacino. How would he say HIPAA? So he'd say HIPAA or whatever dramatically, right?
Oh,
So then that helped me remember, okay, it's hip with two ways at the end. There we go. And ever since then, I've been able to remember. It only took me like 8 years with the company, but I remembered finally.
proud of you. I'm very proud of you for that one.
Thank you, Al Pacino.
Thank you, Al Pacino. I wrote a letter the other day to a friend of mine, and I couldn't remember how to spell camel. This is the types of letters that I write. I couldn't remember how to spell camel, and I'm like, fuck. And now I don't remember now, but it had to do, I think it's two M's. Camel is two M's, right? Can you tell me if this is right? Because this is going to fuck the entire
Just one.
Just one? Fuck! Okay, so then camel has one M. God damn it! Because camels have one hump, and dromedaries have two M's because they have two humps because they need more water.
I guess.
I literally had to write this out like 3 times 3 days ago. And I'm like, okay, I'm never going to forget it now because camels and dromedaries, and one has humps, and these ones need more water in the winter. And that's why camel has one M. And now I have no fucking idea again. Oh, shit. Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Well, speaking of places higher up, because camels are pretty tall and dealing with the one or two humps depending on which camel you encounter. I don't know if you heard about this story either. This actually made the news yesterday here locally in New Jersey, of all places. Then again, New Jersey is kind of a dump. It's outside of New York. But there was a guy basically who I guess decided, that's it. I had enough with life. I can't take this shit no more. And he leapt off a 9-story building in New
Oh,
Jersey, of all places. I didn't know they build places that high in Jersey. Hopefully trying to get closer to heaven because, I'm in New Jersey. Help me, God, whatever. Then he jumps off the 9th floor, with the plan in his mind to die, I guess. Right.
yeah.
But oddly enough, as he jumps, he lands, boom, smack into a BMW parked, breaks his fall. While he gets off the roof of the car, his arm looks like an accordion folded up. One of them at least. The other one's fine, somehow, some way. But he's got the balls, the audacity, I guess the gratefulness to life, per se, when he bumps into the girl taping the whole thing as it happened, or when he hit the car, obviously. He looks up to her and says, "What happened?"
Are you kidding?
Meanwhile, arm dangling again, folded up like an accordion, like a folding chair, whatever, too. And he's asking her, "What happened?"
Because he lost his noodle?
I guess probably. I don't know what hit first, his head, his arm. You know, it looked like his arm hit first, but you know, or broke,
Whoa.
literally broke the fall.
And this was all in the story that was in the news?
Yeah,
Like all these details?
yeah.
That's
But
crazy.
imagine the only case I think where someone would jump and like land on a camel would be like if, let's say, it turns out the pyramids in Egypt are real, like spaceships on the cover this whole time. They start taking off, and one guy happens to be on the tip of the pyramid, and he realizes, no, not yet, not my turn. I don't want to be anally probed, whatever. Then he jumps, and then, oh, I broke my
Like,
fall with a camel. I landed on the hump. Now the hump looks like a pregnant belly on the camel, but I survived at least.
how the fuck else would you land on a camel? Are camels at zoos?
Oh, good question.
Child,
I
here we
don't.
go. Child escapes from its backpack leash while at zoo with mom. Runs away, climbs fence, uncoordinated, falls off fence,
Yeah.
lands on camel.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. There's a kiss scenario.
I'm way too impressed with my own story. That's great.
But I don't know if that's something more along the lines of what you talk about or share with on your Patreon, which, feel free to elaborate on that because I know you've been having that for a little bit
Yeah.
too. It's still fairly new, but you're building and you're growing that as we go. So
Yeah.
go ahead, tell us what you got on the Patreon. What can we expect from the inner workings mentally of Ellocin Daz?
Just no filter. So however I am, that would be the best way to describe it. No filter. I don't, just no filter. So if you listen to podcasts, I go off sometimes, but I don't ever lean too hard into much. I kind of just make it, you know,
Hmm.
so it's okay to listen to. But then in Patreon, I just go off about how sunscreen makes me horny and how, like, just, 5 minutes of me just verbal diarrheaing about one thing and all of my emotions and how I feel about it. And it's
Oh,
good
wait a
to
minute. Hold on. Before, wait, so
no.
sunscreen makes you horny. Is it once you like bloop it out of the tube, or the putty in your hands, or what exactly makes you
I
so
just
horny about it?
I should have specified because that's really gross of me to say. I like the smell of sunscreen because I think of like vacation, and then like maybe while I'm on vacation, because my mind goes far fast. So when I smell sunscreen, I'm instantly like on a beach, and the ocean's there, and then like hot man who's gonna be my husband comes out of the ocean, and is like sweating and like has shorts that are a little too short, teal blue, obviously, like, and we fall in love. Like that's what I think of when I smell SPF. So that's something nobody needs to know, but I love sharing things like that. And I do weekly vlogs, so I film stuff that I do throughout the week, and my family's in it, and they're fucking hilarious individuals. And that's the one thing that people have agreed to participate in is Patreon. So I'm blessed to have them in that as well.
Yeah, shout out to your sister. You were both on the last time we spoke. See, right now I forgot her name. See, and that's not on purpose. I just can't remember her name for
How can I
shit.
remember this? Leah. Her name's Leah.
Leia.
It's her birthday this weekend too.
Happy birthday, Leia.
Yeah, it's her birthday. Ordered her some flowers today from my little daisy shop, and they smell delicious. And she's happy. And yeah, she turns, I don't know, 57 on Saturday, something like that. But yeah,
What kind of flowers did you get her?
fucking fancy ones. I was impressed. I didn't even know what I was getting. And then they showed up the door. I'm like, fuck's sake, I want these. There was like eucalyptus in it and roses that were purple, right? Like not like Queen Elizabeth purple, but nice purple, like, oh, I could maybe paint a wall that color purple. And they just smell delicious. So hopefully she leaves for the weekend and I can relocate them into my bedroom.
I was asking because I forget where I heard it from, but supposedly when you mass order flowers or a bunch of them, the cheapest ones to get if you're on a budget or you don't like the person that much, you're just doing it for the act of, kindness per se. Daisies are the ones I think that they just kind of offer you like a wholesale price like that.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was daisies and some other one, but it was daisies that they named first, like the cheapest, most abundant one you can get if you're trying to buy on a budget or being a penny pincher. Stock up on the daisies.
Well, that's okay because daisies are pretty anyways. So I feel like it would get a pass and no one would get too upset by it.
So
But
knowing that now, you wouldn't be offended if you got daisies.
no, I wouldn't be offended if I got daisies. Unless I was having a fucking day, then I feel like this would be great to like smash around a bit because the petals just poof, right? Those are the ones where it's like, he loves me, not, he loves me. Those ones, right?
Oh yeah. Right.
Oh, imagine throwing that on a fucking windshield. Woo! But regardless, I would love daisies for sure. I love daisies. If anyone's watching this, you can send them to my house. Thank you so much.
And also, let's not forget that you got, well, I know it's not so new anymore, but it's still worthy of sharing and talking about the video and single for Addict.
Yes, absolutely. Their full-blown music video is still out on YouTube. If anyone's tuning in and hasn't seen that yet, then please go take a peek. Had a fucking blast filming that. And my videographer, Alex Krotz, totally crushed it. And yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out. Like, ecstatic.
Yeah, definitely salutes to you on your very dramatic acting.
Thank you. It was very dramatic. Yes.
Were those real tears or did they spray them into your eyes?
No, they were real. I made them in my fucking face and told them, now's the time. Let's
Get
go.
wet.
The camera's rolling! little soldiers in the back of my head. I'm like, all right, let's go. Left foot, right foot, left foot, and then just. Okay. Good job, everybody.
Did you have to like dig into the memory banks to make your tears come out like that, or is that just like on cue kind of thing?
Yeah, I have a special nasty little place that I keep in my head. Kind of, I call them like boxes, kind of. And if I need to do the thing, then I go to that box and open it, and then the thing will happen. I have a bunch of singles that I've been sitting on for a long time, and I have to start putting out. Not have to, want to. It is on the list, and I can't fucking wait to film another music video. Like, I can't fucking wait. All of the ideas. And then it's the coolest shit ever because it's like, okay, I sit and I write out all the things that I want to see and put together, and then I do everything like, okay, to the beat, like this is where my cut ideas are, make a little storyboard, and then I hand it over to Alex Krotz and say, can we do this? And he, says, yeah, and then we make it happen, and seeing it come to life is just fucking crazy.
One more thing you're still working on, I believe, and that's the Totally Mental Mindset program you're the head of, right?
Yes, absolutely. That has been a fucking blast. 8-week program, talk about mindset and how to apply what you think up top here, turn it into a business, and do improv as well to help kind of illustrate the stuff that I talk about. So in a loving way, putting people on the spot, getting people to step outside of who they are currently, trying on a new suit, and eliciting different types of emotions. And it's awesome. I love it.
Nice. And speaking of stand-up, I think I know you had something like a couple of months ago or so. You did a festival, I believe, or something of that sorts.
Yes.
Where you opened up, right?
Yeah, at 905 Fest. It was a family event, so I didn't swear one time. Okay.
At all.
Not one time, and I had to practice that a lot. And after I did my set, I found out. There's a dude also came on and performed. Fucking brilliant. What is his name? Devin Bateson. I think if I fucked that up, I'm so sorry. But he does comedy and writes songs about, I don't even know how to, like, my favorite song that he has out is called Windows. And the song is about how a bird hits a window and dies. And it's like, funny as fuck, but really dark. Anyways, he did his set, and he was saying fuck, cunt, shit, piss, and all the other shit, and I'm laughing hysterically. And then I had a moment, I'm like, what the fuck? I could have told all the kids to fuck off. Prove my point.
Go climb back up your mom's pussy, you little cunt.
Yeah, listen up, bitches. I'm gonna talk to you about mental health. Sit the fuck down.
Do you know the damage you did mentally to your mother when they were popping you out of a pussy, you little piece of shit? You should have came out of her ass, as shit as you are.
Yeah, so
Your
you
behavior,
better
attitude.
sit down right now and listen to my fucking set. Oh, yeah, but it was great.
Well, I mean, listen, we talked about just about everything you got going on. You know, again, the Patreon, the Totally Mental Mindset program, you know, Addict, the video and the single, the podcast, obviously, of course, too. Anything else you want to add on that we should know about? You got coming up at all whatsoever?
Probably. There's probably a lot of things that I have going on that are coming up. Patreon would probably be the number one thing. I'm putting a bunch of new character comedy out on that. That is totally disgusting that I'm very proud of. So the funniest shit you'll ever find will be over there. And yeah, start there. Podcast, Blue is Beautiful. If you want to follow my artist page and see me not post anything at all ever, that is at Ellocin Daz. And yeah. Oh, and please, like, for Christ's sake, if you take anything away from this little comedy conversation that we had today, please remember that your blue is beautiful. And if you're having issues with your mental health or you're struggling and you need some help, reach out to somebody, reach out to me, call someone, and you know, keep that a top priority. And that would be like my biggest message always that I wanna put forth.
So whose blue is more beautiful than if you had to rank? Is it the Queen's? Because I know she's got many shades of blue going on in her whole daily ensemble just to get out there and wave at the crowd with white gloves on.
Bro, the Queen doesn't have fucking shit on this podcast. Respectfully. That's just my opinion, though. And also,
Well, you know.
she's a little more of like a purple wearing gal, which we've established. And I mean, that's my 2 cents.
Queen's too busy as we speak picking out the tomorrow's shade of whatever fucking color she's got in mind too anyway to wave at the crowd. So
she's too busy. So
too busy.
I don't know,
too busy.
She's too busy. I'm not too busy. So Blue's Beautiful podcast, Queen. I mean, like, if we're gonna do one of these, I don't know, dude.
Oh, your blue is beautiful. Oi, wave at you. Hello, your blue is beautiful.
Stop.
And then she'll accuse you like color shaming, like, oh, but what about the purple tone?
I don't give a fuck about the blue. It's the blue.
You know what else is purple is more cunt? Shout out some love, why don't you?
This is the shit that I would do literally for hours. Even by myself. Just like...
Oh, I'm sure. No one by your energy, judging by that, absolutely.
Oh, my cheeks hurt so bad. But yeah.
I just wonder what it's like for you once you roll out of bed, you know, sprint to the bathroom and start, you know, just monologuing to yourself into the mirror, I guess.
I try to not do it until after I do my morning routine activities. Like, no, because it takes up so much time. But yes, that's what I do. Oh, a girlfriend of mine sent me a reel the other day of 2 pieces of lint that were talking to each other. I might have sent this to you, maybe. They were talking to each other about, like, how they were upgrading, and, like, it's like, oh, yeah, like, I've got some human hair on me, and the other was like, yeah, I've got some dog, but I think I might be moving over here because, like, you know, I've been hanging out with socks lately. And I watched that and I just died laughing. I'm like, oh, I could sit in front of literally a fucking doorknob and make myself laugh thinking about what the doorknob would be thinking about. if it was looking at me. I don't know, man.
Who's taking more turns on who's had more turns taken on, the me or your mother kind of thing? Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you get touched a lot.
Yeah.
You get touched.
Manhandled.
You get manhandled every day, and no one says thank you. Like I feel like doorknobs are probably depressed.
Oh yeah.
Like, holy fuck.
Ellocin Daz, though, thank you so much again, as always, for agreeing to this, finally making the time so we can do this as well. Can't thank you enough, as always. You're awesome. Hopefully soon enough we get to actually work on something in person. Once this whole thing in the world calms down, and
Absolutely.
improving race relations as far as the borders are concerned, Canada, the U.S., whatever. Too. Maybe this intensity about you guys smuggling in maple syrup, and then we guys are trying to pass off the Canadian bacon as your version of ham, and then vice versa. That's a whole clusterfuck in that sense.
I know. I
But
keep telling people, like, if you guys ever want to get let into the U.S. again, you have to stop smuggling the syrup. But
yeah,
like, the Canadian, we're all addicts. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about that. But I would love that. And I also love doing these lives with you as well. So whenever you want to do it again, I think next time we should do like the camel game. Like, I'm just gonna call it that. And I'll call it the doorknob game. And we can play that, because I think that would be great.
jumping on humps.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be fucking awesome. I would love it.
Awesome. But thank you again so much. I appreciate the time taken today. And you know what? Again, we've been through it all. As far as touching on everything you got working on, coming out soon. Appreciate it. And anything else you want to say before you leave, or call it a night here?
No, I could talk for hours, so I'm just going to say no. I've already plugged everything, and I need to stop. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, call me anytime. We'll do it again. Shoot the shit.
Definitely. Looking forward to it.
All
and
right.
by the way, everybody here, thank you for tuning in to AhhFuGGiT Live, of course. The wonderful, great, beautiful, talented, funny as fuck, Canadian as fuck as well, too. Ellocin Daz has been on here. At Ellocin Daz, ELLOCINDAZ, I believe.
You got it.
And then the at Blues Beautiful podcast on Instagram as well. Check that out. Drops every Sunday, brand new episode. Your YouTube, is it Ellocin Daz as well, or?
Yes.
Ellocin Daz. And also don't forget the Patreon, patreon.com/Ellocin Daz. Also, to check out the stuff that YouTube can't handle, that Instagram may not be able to categorize as appropriate just because it's too off the wall. Too much for you to handle.
Yeah, literally. YouTube is a bitch. So Patreon's where it's at.
Definitely. And shout outs to Leia on her birthday week. Tell her, you splurge on the good flowers, not the cheap, mass-produced flowers that are, aka daisies, now established.
Yeah, and you know what? As soon as we get off this, I'm gonna let her know too. Hey, did you know? And I'm gonna tell her about eels going in people's asses, because that is fucked, and I'm gonna be talking about that for 3 days. So thank you for that as well.
Yo, it's over. All right, it's over. It's over. Move the mic. Move the mic.
Thank you.
All right.